Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we have another Shadowverse Evolve gameplay video for you. This is actually from our showdown recently, excuse me, our showdown recently from our locals. On the bottom of the screen you'll have Danny piloting his Control Abyss, and I am on the top of the screen piloting Egghaven. I'm going to apologize in advance for the next few videos. As you can see immediately, really tough glare. Glare that we're dealing with. I think we corrected a little bit before we go on in the video, so you at least can squint really hard and see some of the cards that Danny starts playing. Yeah, it's like you can see that one's a bell ringer clearly, but hopefully you listen to my voice and you can, let me narrate it for you, and it won't be that much of a problem. But yeah, it's just you're recording these at local. Sometimes you're kind of at the mercy of what's available, and it's just one of those times. So Danny went second, started off with a bell ringer as I passed on turn one. I play Alice's Adventure. I really have a love-hate relationship with that card. I think the card's pretty tough, pretty bad playing on 2 going first and 2 going second, because if you play it on 2 going first, whatever you search is not going to be able to evolve most likely. So I'm searching a tin because tin is a great card to drop on 3, but I also have the library book in my hand to discard it, or depending on how things go for me, I have an Alice in my hand as well. So I'm just kind of, it's overall the best card I could probably search at the time. Danny draws to 2 play points. Looks like he has a Thunderous Roar in his hand. I think that's what he ends up doing here. Yeah, 100% he ends up doing that here actually, because it ends up paying off for him really well. Control Abyss is in a really interesting spot right now. So he plays a Thunderous Roar, gonna rip a random card out of my hand. I have 5. I'm praying that he doesn't touch my Alice in there, because that's my setup piece, the only one that I have, and he does hit the Alice, so that's tough. But I'm actually still feeling okay, whatever, it's not that bad. We'll play Tin Man here, and then the next turn, the deck has ways of getting Alice back, right? Like Tea Time, Pinion Prince. There's plenty of ways to get the cards that you get hit back to your hand, which is why I like Egghaven a lot. It has so many options for you. So we do play the 10 and we just pass. Bellringer is still on Danny's field in case you forgot. Now Danny's on 3 play points. So what we're worried about here is exactly that. Crazed Executioner. Rule 9 would not be as bad because it's random, but Crazed, that is going to hurt because Danny is going to peek the entire hand and take the only good card out of it, which is a Tea Time. So yeah, it's a little bit tough. You saw Snow White in my hand. I was testing out Snow White that day because we have a lot of just aggro Abyss in our locals, so I was just going to test to see hey, maybe Snow White. Snow White's also one more card that you can actually put a counter on instead of just Tin Man. So I play the library book, kind of thinking here maybe what I could have done instead, because I actually drew another Snow White. So thinking back here, I put the library book out, swing over the bell ringer, and then swing directly with the Tin Man. At my point, my plan here is to just start going aggressive, but yeah, I kind of think that maybe I should have just played both Snow Whites, and just ward them both up, create a little bit of a wall so Tin Man can just start swinging, because now I left myself with only 1 card in hand. And I believe Rule 9 is about to come down. Yeah, Rule 9 comes down, and I have only 1 card, which is the Pinion Prince. And Pinion Prince, don't get me wrong, Pinion Prince would have been great to play on turn 5. So at least if I left the book in my hand, I could have, left it up to 50-50. Maybe the luck would have been on my side at that point. And then the Snow Whites just kind of replace themselves too. So it's you learn a lot from watching these back. I'll say for sure. So Rule 9 swings and crashes into the library book. Danny takes another 2 damage, and then he swings directly for 3. And we still have Snow White and Tin Man. We draw to 1 card in hand. Unfortunately, it's a Faria, but we do just put a counter on Tin Man, burn for 2, and swing for 5 more. So Danny's gonna be left at 6. Yeah, pretty tough. It's a very scary position for him, I would say. So I mean, he's yes, I'm top decking, but I don't think he has any kind of heals besides, like, he just dropped Soul Dealer right here. A Soul Dealer is only going to heal him a max of 3, so it's going to be a wash, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, top decking. I guess top decking against Egghaven is always pretty scary, because as soon as they top deck something like an Alice, or they top deck a Tea Time, even Pinion Prince, those are, I mean, crazy strong top decks. And in this case, even a Humpty would be great, because he swung over both of my followers. So like a Humpty, then bring up the Snow White would just be scary. You'd be presenting lethal and just playing Snow White. So yeah, I mean, Danny's, in no means is Danny like in a commanding, or that much of a commanding position. We've unfortunately draw Fina, and Fina's just not really going to do anything for us here. You know, because it's, you know, there's Feria, there is Andromeda. I do play Bellringer, so we could hit a Bellringer, but yeah, there's nothing really that's going to help us like secure the game here. But fortunately for us, Danny's at 6, so we are able to at least bring up the Snow White and whatever else we get off of this Fina. And the Fina and the Snow White is presenting lethal, so Danny still has to figure out a way to out it. Not that it's that hard. I mean, the Snow White will be a 3/3. Fina is only a 2 defense. So yeah, it can go one of two ways, but it's kind of one of those positions where Danny's like in a position of, if you have it, I just lose, and there's nothing I can really do right now. But I'm in the position where I'm thinking, like, I need to hurry up before turn 8, because if Israfil comes down, I'm probably going to lose. But I just need to leave it up to the top deck gods to help me. So I just presents, Fina, Feria, and Snow White, and leave them all standing. I'm at 17, so I can afford to take the 10 on the board. Danny plays a Bellringer, which is like a double ouchie, because it outs my Fina and it blocks a hit next turn. So I think that was a top deck too, so it's just very well timed Bellringer to come in. So he will evolve the Bellringer to destroy I would imagine destroys the Fina here, because the extra counter off of Feria won't make a difference. I guess technically I could put it on the Snow White, but I don't think I'd do that. Yeah, so he does do the Bellringer. He's going to destroy the Fina. And then we're just back to top decking again. And of course he's going to swing for 10. But like, yeah, Danny's list is very interesting. I'll put that in the comments too. So I'm sure you guys are going to want to see it. You know, Egg. There's not a whole lot of room for creativity in Egg, truthfully. But Abyss has a ton of room for creativity. That's such a cool deck right now. I mean, I think that it's really cool that you can play a ton of different staple Abyss cards and, you know, do well in the tournaments. You can create your own thing. So we do take 10. Now we're at 7 to Danny's 6. He's going to end up warding the Bellringer, and once again we are top decking. So I think what I get worried about here is I draw a Bellringer, which, number one, kind of upsetting, because, like, you know, I kind of wish that was in my Fina mill last turn. But because I would have much rather preferred to have like a Fina and Snow White, which was lethal, and then present a ward, so I don't necessarily take 10, maybe only take 7, maybe. But yeah, so I play the Bellringer, and it's like, this is a losing position. I can't even out you know, like the craze or anything like that. So at this point, I kind of just make a decision to just YOLO this. So play the Bellringer, evolve it. I'm going to deal 2 damage to the Soul Dealer, because I believe craze is at 1. So and then I swing my Bellringer into the Soul Dealer, and I draw a card. I'm just desperate at this point. We draw an Explosion, which is pretty nice. So now what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to swing like just one of my cards, like the Fina, into the Soul Dealer, which would make it at 1 defense, and then I could Explosion the Crazed and the Soul Dealer. The Crazed I'm not worried about anymore, it's gonna go, but the Soul Dealer, I just want one of these hits to go through. So Danny has 3 play points up as well. So Danny looks at his hand, and he is going to, I think, Surefire Bullet. Yeah, he's going to use Surefire Bullet to destroy the Fina, and now we just kind of swing with the Snow White into the Soul Dealer, and we kind of hope that goes through. Oh, actually, he only has 1 play point left, so we know it's going to go through at that point. And then we Explosion to take out his followers. So it's actually, I don't want to say it's best case scenario, but it is pleasant that, because if the Snow White lived, I mean, maybe I would have swung into the Bellringer, which gave him an extra card. But at the same time, I have to deal with the Bellringer, so I guess not. I mean, it's just you know, right? But we're not out of the game yet. I mean, fortunately, it's Control Abyss, so they don't have, you know, 7 damage out of nowhere. Unless they played like Alucard or something like that, but he's only got like 6. It looks like 6 cards in his hand. So yeah, I think that we're certainly still in the game. We just need to hit something good. So I think we're going to 7 play points next turn. Or no, we're going to 8. I think we're going to 8 play points next turn actually. And so there's a lot of cards that can actually just win us the game. You know, Alice has a decent chance of winning us the game if it hits a Tin Man. Tea Time would be pretty big as well, because we can, you know, again, maybe hit Alice and then bring back our Tin Man. So there's a lot of card combinations that can possibly lead to game. Nothing that like top decks and this is like 5 damage out of nowhere, but cards that can lead to it for sure. I mean, even just drawing a Humpty would be nice, because just to get it in rotation. But yeah, Pinion Prince also I think is going to be another really, really good one, because it's not lethal, but it brings up 4 damage. So Danny's going to play Rule Knife for 3. He's got 4 play points left, and I think he play. Oh yeah, Bellringer's still there, so he just wards it. So 4 play points open. We draw. And we draw into a Pinion Prince, which is amazing. I mean, that's one of the better draws that we could have hoped for. And I don't know why I take so long in this next play, because obviously the obvious thing is just to bring up put Tin Man down, put a counter on it, bring it up, have another counter on it, and then you can out the Rule Nigh. Or if you're ballsy enough, you can just ping Danny for 4, and you know, just kind of hope for the best. I think that what I'm thinking here is, like, I'm looking at Snow White, I'm looking at Fina, Faria, and I'm thinking that, like, well, you know, maybe is there a world where I want to bring up like Faria, for example, and then give it rush to attack over the Bellringer, and then I evolve the Pinion Prince to swing over the Rule Nigh. I really have no idea why I thought about that for so long. I theorized that maybe I forgot Pinion Prince gave Tin Man a counter or something, where I was off on 1 counter. But I do eventually bring up the select Tin Man, bring him up, and then pop the Rule Nigh. Now here's the question of would it have been better to just bring up the Tin Man and leave Danny at 1 health? Because then both of my cards are you know, presenting lethal, but you know, 4 damage. Can Danny get at 4 damage? I guess I don't know. Like, I think that most there's cards in Abyss, sure, that can get you to 4 damage, I guess, but I don't think that he plays that. So I'm kind of thinking now, looking back, that maybe I should have just put him at 1. So Danny activates Death's Breath. I know you can't see it, but he activates Death's Breath, brings back the Soul Dealer, deals 3 to himself. That's another thing too, is that if I left him at 1, he wouldn't have been able to do a Death's Breath and bring back Soul Dealer, because Soul Dealer would have just killed himself. But I'm thinking that's what I probably should have done, actually. That's why it's really helpful to go. Like, I really enjoy going back and watching my own gameplay videos, because I think that was entirely an opportunity to bring this back, because I don't know what else is in his hand, but if he had to Death's Breath the Soul Dealer, like, there's no benefit to playing Death's Breath into Soul Dealer, because it just costs more play points than you needed to, and it already has ward, so you didn't have to give it to it. So that tells me that I think this was the only, like, maybe the only play to Outstanding Followers. But even if he didn't out a single standing follower, Like if he added only one standing follower, but let's say he was at 1 right now, I guess he can Death's Breath. Like I'm thinking Rule Nigh, but that doesn't help him at all. I don't think anything that he's gone through so far in his cemetery outs a standing follower. So I'm thinking that he ends up just maybe at best having 2 wards. No, I don't think so. I don't know. He really has to out a standing follower, right? So he ends up soul dealing the Tin Man, and then he just wards up, and then I just draw a card, and that ends up being it. So yeah, that really does kind of open up my eyes a little. So the card I draw is Athena, and I guess if he couldn't out, or let's say he outs one standing follower, but now he only has the Bell Ringer. Now Athena actually just pops a Bell Ringer, and I swing with Tin Man for game. So I think that is where I mess up here, because now clearly Fina's not going to do it for me, that's going to end up being the game. But I think that I really could have prevented this one. So I love Egg. I think that what I like about Egg is that my losses are almost entirely under my control, unless there's like a matchup thing. But this one, I think that this was on me, so it's a learning experience. So I'm excited, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for following as always. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.